Okie dokie, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I am your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names of kicking candy ass, live and in living color here with you on Grande's Graveyard. Welcome back to another edition of the show where tonight we go to the east, ladies and gentlemen. We go all the way to the east to the wonderful land of Japan. And tonight it is the J-horror, Japanese horror special. And I'm super excited tonight because initially I had 3 movies planned, but I didn't get to the third movie, of course, that being Battle Royale. I love that film. I always, like to do in my show prep, rewatch the movie, watch as many features, do as much research as I can. This week, I unfortunately just didn't have the time to get to that third movie. And I know that of these 3, that was the movie that was probably been most talked about on YouTube by other YouTubers. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I shed some light on these 2? And if anything else, I could always down the road do another J-horror special. So I'm super excited tonight because the 2 movies that we have for you are both fantastic in their own very special way. First, of course, from the year 2001, it is The Suicide Club. Yes, The Suicide Club, which I'm excited to talk about this movie, is a lot of deeper themes of horror in this movie, and alongside its weird, dark, black humor that is in this. I mean, this is a very interesting, unique film, and I'm excited to discuss it. And of course, secondly, but not leastly, of course, Eihi Shiina stars in the Tokyo Gore Police. Yes, the Tokyo Gore Police, which is another just absolutely insane body horror movie with, again, some other deeper themes that we can get into here tonight. I'm super excited. I know that this may not be one of the longest Grande Graveyard because, of course, we only have 2 movies to discuss here tonight, but hopefully we'll go as in-depth as possible. We can hear your guys' thoughts, and we can go from there. So, of course, Miss C is in the house saying, ciao, Grande and friends. Ciao, Miss C. Hope all is well with you. J-horror, baby. Throwing out the knives. Hell yeah. I'm a J-horror guy. Love me some Japanese horror. And, of course, in the past, I've done shows on Ringu. I've done shows on Ju-on. I've also reviewed Perfect Blue, which was like a bonus review of another episode I did. I forget which episode it was. And I was at a point, I was like, maybe I'll throw Perfect Blue on here just because I've seen it so many times. And it's arguably my favorite Japanese horror movie, or just Japanese movie in general. Definitely my favorite anime movie of all time. I love Perfect Blue. I was thinking about throwing that on here as a bonus review, but I was like, let's shine light on these. I couldn't get to the third one. So I know there are probably people special, you're only reviewing 2 movies. Well, I mean, this is the best I could do. Sometimes life gets in the way. I know it wasn't planned on Grande, but you could maybe talk Audition. I mean, I would love to talk Audition. Again, wouldn't be the thorough Grande's Graveyard look at Audition with all my facts and all my knowledge on the movie, because honestly, it's been a while since I've watched Audition, but I did briefly discuss Eihi Shiina's performance in that movie on my top 10 female performances in horror. If you haven't seen that video, highly recommend it. It was one of my favorite episodes I've done all year. And of course, I did discuss Miss Eihi Shiina, and that we'll also be discussing Eihi Shiina in Tokyo Gore Police tonight. So I'm very excited to do all of these things. I guess we can kick it off with a Chars. Cheers, everybody, to a safe, happy, healthy weekend. I've got a nice water bottle here. I know, a little boring. I got the day off work tomorrow, so I'm actually chilling tonight. Maybe I'll throw on a movie after this, but you never know. Let's see. Texas THC 1965 is here. Hey, Grande. Welcome, my friend. I hope you're ready to discuss all things J-horror, because this is going to be a very fun show here tonight. But okay, that's everybody in the chat. Definitely a lighter chat thus far in the show. We'll see if more people join. If not, more fun for you and me. So let's go over here to the deep plot synopsis of Cian Sono's film from the year 2001 that we're going to be discussing, The Suicide Club. Yes, Suicide Club from 2001. 54 high school girls throw themselves in front of a subway train. This appears to be only the beginning of a string of suicides around the country. Does the new all-girl group Desert have anything to do with it? Detective Kuroda tries to find the answer, which isn't as simple as one could hope. Yes, The Suicide Club. So this, I guess before I get into this, I guess you have to give a, trigger warning, I guess, or any kind of warning that you can warn somebody, because this is subject matter that, some could find a little too real, a little too close to home, a little too much when it comes to the genre. I know that I always say that there's a line. There's a line that you can cross, and there's a line that you go too far past. And this is one of those movies that it may just be the line for some people. And if that's the case, I totally understand. I warn you, and I actually recommend you stay away. If you feel like this is a line or could be a line for you, I recommend you stay away. Now, if you're a fan of physical media, this is an awesome little special edition here. We got the nice slipcover here of Suicide Club and this awesome little Blu-ray slip. Now, if you're a features person like me, you're going to be sorely disappointed because there's really no special features on this son of a gun, which is a damn shame because I actually would have loved to have seen that. But instead, I did more research on my own, did a lot more reading this week as opposed to watching special features because also the Tokyo Gore Police Blu-ray, this has no features either. So the only feature on either one of these Blu-rays is a trailer for this movie. So that's absolutely wild that there's, just bare bones editions of really otherwise great horror movies. And I'm excited to discuss a little bit of my background of what I read on this movie. Your knowledge even on not fully prepared movies. What do you mean? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you mean. Curly's here. Hey, Grande. I say J-Horror. Curly comes to run it because I did my last J-Horror show was Ringu series ranked with her, and we had a bunch of fun talking all things Sadako Yamamura. So hope all is well with you, Curly. For me, it all began with Evil Dead Trap giving me my old buddy Chazbro. Gene Sanford's in the house. Gene, welcome, my friend. Hope all is well with you. Then I saw House, the Japanese one. Well, you got to love House, the Japanese one. I've done solo review on that. I actually have discussed that movie before on the channel, and I absolutely love that movie. I'm waiting for the 4K. That's got to be dropping on 4K at some point. Of course, I had to stop by for that. Hell yeah, Curly. I don't know what you're doing tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow. I got the day off work tomorrow, so maybe I'll get some pizza and I'll send you a picture of it because I know you're a fellow New York pizza lover like me. Aiden Vaver's in the house. Hello, everyone. Is that Donnie Darko? It's a mad world. I'm saying you're smart, even if not fully prepared. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. House was so wild, of course, and all the colors and techniques and stuff like that. Absolutely wild. I agree with you guys. So let me get a little bit into this movie and the background in this movie. Of course, it's directed by Sion Sono. And again, if I butcher any Japanese names, I truly do apologize. Sion Sono, I don't know. I suck at pronouncing Japanese names, so I do apologize for that. But of course, Sion Sono was a real guerrilla underground filmmaker in the late 80s and moving on to the 90s. And he was really experimental, very under the radar type of filmmaker. And then he flew to the United States and California and he attended school in Berkeley. And in Berkeley, he said he didn't learn anything. He didn't learn any English. What he did was he studied B movies and porn films in order to get a sense of taste and a sense of style for sleazy American cinema. And then, of course, he goes back to his native land of Japan, and it's all of a sudden it's the J-horror boom, which it really kicked off with, depending on who you ask, it's either, of course, Ringu or Ju-on the Curse. It depends. I mean, to me, it's Ringu. That's really the movie that spawned the J-horror movement, whether it be, Ju-on after, whether it be a One Missed Call, whether it be some of the films that Takashi Miike was directing around that time, or a Battle Royale. I mean, so many J-horror movies, Shudder, that just Dark Water, so many J-horror movies that just started booming. The J-horror movement was an absolute phenomenon around the late 90s, moving into the new millennium. And this is one of those movies to me that fits right in with it. And Sion Sono said, I have to make this movie that follows in trend of this and follows in the wave of this new J-horror movement. And what happened was right before he, had sat down and tried to think of an idea for an upcoming J-horror movie to go along with the movement, his best friend committed suicide. His best friend of many, many years committed suicide out of nowhere. And Sion said he was just thrown off by this, taken back by this. And he figured that the horror of his own real life and the horror of what his friend had done to himself could make for an interesting story if adapted in the right way in a J-horror movie. And then, of course, he comes across Yoshihiro Nishimura, who, of course, is a big, big special makeup effects artist and would go on to direct, funny enough, this movie, the Tokyo Gore Police, which we're going to be discussing here tonight. He goes on to him and he says, hey, man, I've been trying to get this idea off the ground. I really want to make this movie. And Yoshihiro, he comes to him, he goes, listen, man, if you have an idea, you got to go for it. Like, just absolutely go for it. Take the gloves off and go for this thing. Like, don't hold back. And I'm here with you every step of the way. I'll do the special makeup effects. Let's do this thing. Let's make an impact. Let's strike a nerve in the horror society. And I don't think either one of them could have been prepared for the nerve that they were about to strike with this movie here, The Suicide Club from 2001. And like I said, I do have this really nice special edition Blu-ray. If you call it special edition, again, special edition with no features. But I do like the slip cover. I like the reverse cover art. I like this. And if you prefer this, it does flip over. It's reversible. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. But of course, this is one of those horror movies that to me starts off with such a bang. I mean, the movie opens where all of these girls are getting on a subway and they're all schoolgirls. They're laughing. They're talking about boys and grades and schoolwork and all these things. And of course, they all walk up to the train platform, grab each other hand in hand, count a 1, a 2, a 3, and jump in front of the fucking subway. And it causes this insane mass suicide with all of this gore that you could practically taste coming off the screen. I mean, it's just absolutely splat-tastic in its opening scene, and how holy shit, like it's just a jaw-dropping moment. And it's like, that's how you start your film. And it also is a very big kind of notification and flag for the viewer, for them to say, I don't know what's going to come next, but anything can happen next. And I'm excited and I'm glued and I'm interested. Why did this just happen? What the fuck is going on? Holy shit. And to me, that's how you open a horror film. Like, that's exactly when I think of great horror openings. This is a movie that immediately comes to mind, is Sion Sono's film, The Suicide Club. I love the opening. You're just like, holy shit, taken back by it. We're then introduced to all of these kind of bland, detectives that, we have to try to get to the bottom of this, blah, blah, blah. That whole subplot is here nor there. I've never been a big fan of that subplot because it really leads to nothing. But of course, the next thing you see, you have this wild, scene in a school where all these kids are playing recess or talking about whatever on the roof of the school. And they're all talking back and forth. And the dark humor in this movie is actually fantastic. Now, if you don't have a dark sense of humor, you might find the humor in this movie not funny at all and actually in bad taste. And I understand if you do. But some of the humor in this movie is actually quite hysterical to me, where you'll have these kids going back and forth like, I'll kill myself. No, you stink. I'll kill myself better than that. And they're going back and forth and like, before we kill ourselves, we should all have an orgy, a fornication orgy. And, you're just trying to get in our pants. True. This is absolutely insane with its dark humor. I have a really good time with the dark humor as all of these kids kind of stand on the ledge of the school and once again grab hands and decide to jump. And you have this insane fucking scene where these kids, they hit the ground and just splat. And you can actually clearly see there's extras just throwing buckets of blood on the windows of the school, like holy shit type of deal. And like, to me, man, like, if you want to start a horror movie off for the first 20 minutes, you're like, holy moly, it's this movie. I mean, it's just absolutely wild, the lengths that this movie goes in the beginning. It's really quite something. I mean, I just absolutely am floored by the lengths that he was able to go here. And this is not like this was a big budget movie, like I was saying before. Neither one of these movies we're going to talk about tonight had big budgets. But I think both of them, especially this movie, have imagination and have creativity and have something to say. I think this one really has more of something to say about society and about suicide and about the horrors really of fitting in. And of course, like I said, the investigation doesn't really go very far. And I always found it to be sort of a mass subplot in this movie because that whole thing leads to not much. Of course, you think, there's got to be a reason. There's got to be a Jim Jones. There's got to be something like that, like a cult leader. And they even do. They bring in a guy named Genesis, who's strict, like a Japanese ripoff of Alex DeLarge, who from A Clockwork Orange is a very similar character, where he has, the glitter eyes and the hat and the whole fucking suit and all that shit. Very similar to that character. They think somebody like that has to be behind it, and in turn, it's only a scapegoat. This movie is really more about the horrors of fitting in and the horrors of peer pressure and the horrors that are brought onto us by society, whether it be a certain look, whether it be a certain fad, whether it be a certain thing on the internet that you might see. And you might say, that's blasphemy that people would start killing themselves in order to fit in. You say blasphemy, I say absolutely. Because you think about even in our country, right? I mean, I'm not in Japan. I don't know any of the, politics there or stuff that has happened suicide rate wise. But I could tell you in this country, I can name a ton of shit that's happened even in my own lifetime where I'm like, holy shit, do people remember the Tide Pod incidents where people would actually take Tide Pods and eat them as internet dare challenges and die? Like, do people remember that? Do people remember the Cut for Bieber scenario when Justin Bieber got caught at whatever age smoking pot, and all of his female fans that loved and adored him and bought standees of him and bled Justin Bieber literally started to bleed and cut themselves for Justin Bieber to have him stop smoking marijuana? Do people remember that? That was a real thing. People actually fucking cut themselves in order for that motherfucker to stop smoking weed. Like, that is crazy stuff there. Absolutely crazy how these fads take over. And they don't have to just be grand fads like that. They could be smaller ones. Look at all the TikTok fads. Look at all the people with the dancing fads and all that stuff where the internet really weighs large on people trying to prove themselves to a community and trying to fit in and be a part of something and get noticed and get recognition. That's really what the horrors of this movie is about. And each suicide feels like each one of these people are trying to fit in or trying to prove something. It's not like they're under a trance. It's not like they're under a spell, like in a Smile, if you will, or The Happening, where people are literally just purposely dropping dead. This is a movie where what I think is so scary about it is the people are choosing to off themselves. It's not like they're under a spell or they believe in a higher power or this, that, or the other. They're just trying to fit in. And I find that so damn effective and horrific. To me, that's horror done right, in my humble opinion. I love the horror in this movie. And of course, we have some very interesting visuals where the cops on the scene, they find all of this skin sort of molded and stitched and stapled together of all of these people that join hands in the suicide. They cut off portions of their bodies to make this giant fucking, almost like a Hubble Bubble, like a Laffy Tape thing of fucking bubble gum, but with human skin on it. And it's all gooey and gory and disgusting. And a lot of the skin tags you can see have tattoos, and they think, oh, tattoos, maybe, just maybe, the cult has something to do with tattoos. They keep saying all of these things, that end up really having not much to do with anything, which I thought was kind of funny, but an insane visual there. We get some very interesting atmospheric shots in a hospital in this movie where I thought Sion Sono, it almost felt like he was directing a different movie when we got to the hospital portion, which is very small, but I know they cut a lot out of it. I know they were trying to make a scare sequence with a fax machine, which, granted, 2001 fax machines were used. 2023, I mean, does anybody use a fax machine anymore? So that may not have aged well. Even though I know fax machines are still around, I'm sure somebody still fucking uses them. I don't know how well that would have aged here. Just me, though. You have some really disturbing sequences where people are offing themselves, whether it be a woman that's cutting bread for the family. She's cutting bread for the family. Her hand is on the bread, and she just starts cutting her own fingers off and doesn't sell it. And her little daughter watches her doing it, and she's like, Mom, what are you doing? And the mother's just cutting her fingers off like there's nothing going on, and all the gore where you're like, oh my God, stop cutting your fingers off, you crazy bitch. The kid runs to him, oh my God, Dad, Mom's going crazy. She's already fucking crazy. And people sticking their heads into ovens, and people fucking taking pills so they'll overdose. Absolutely insanity goes on in this movie of all the ways people try to off themselves in order to truly fit in. And throughout the movie, our lead detective, who actually, funny enough, which is the cool kind of, tie to these two movies here, and another Japanese horror movie that Miss C has already mentioned, Ryo Ishibashi plays the lead detective Kuroda in this movie. You may remember him from a little movie called Audition, which also stars this woman from Audition. Of course, you have the two leads in both movies are also, they were the co-stars of Audition as the two leads in that. So crazy that they kind of both have ties to other really good J-horror movies. He keeps getting calls from this little boy who slowly but surely asks him, hey, do you feel connected to yourself? And he's like, what do you mean? Do I feel connected to myself? What are you talking about? Of course I am. Like, tell me what's going on. He's trying to figure out what's going on. And the little boy says, you're connected to your wife. If you left today, she'd miss you forever. Your kids, same thing. You left today, they'd miss you forever. But are you connected to yourself? And he keeps asking that pivotal question that the lead detective doesn't quite know how to answer. He can lie, but he doesn't know the truth in that answer. And there's a heartbreaking scene where the detective comes home and finds that his entire family has committed suicide. And it's just this heartbreaking moment for the lead detective where he feels that he's maybe so caught up in his own job and the well-being of others that he wasn't paying enough attention to his own family. And it's this moment of heartbreak for our lead detective character where he walks in and his entire family has now committed suicide and he blames himself for it. And thus offing himself. And this movie is just absolutely wild with some of the conspiracies within it too, because of course we do follow this one girl, and I want to get the actress name right here. I thought she did a wonderful job. Oh gosh, what's her damn name? I got to get this woman's name because I think she's great. She's the one on the cover of this. She's just a wonderful actress in this movie. I can't fucking find her name. I apologize. I can't find her name here, but she does a great job. There's a point where she's walking home from school, minding her own damn business, and all of a sudden somebody jumps off a roof and hits her on the way down, and it's her own boyfriend, and hits her in the ears. She's bleeding, and he's reaching up, and she's like, God damn it, you killed yourself. I got to live and go on with this shit. I thought that was, again, dark humor done right. She kind of walks off, whatever. She notices that there's this little band called Dessert, and it's spelled Desart. And she goes to her boyfriend's apartment, who's since passed away, and she finds that on the poster, there's all these sorts of subliminal messages, and the subliminal message spells the word suicide. And she thinks maybe this pop girl band might be involved, and it might be a message for people to go off themselves. Just absolutely crazy the length this movie goes to, where you're like, holy shit, she's seeing messages on a girl band poster and making some sort of sense out of it. I thought that was wonderful. I really did. I thought that was absolutely horrifying stuff. I was like, damn, like, this is crazy. And it made me think about it too. You think of the word dessert, right? Okay, we think of dessert. It's something that's enjoyable. It's good. And everybody kind of likes it, but too much of it can be bad for you. And then here in this movie, that pop band, it's good. People like it, but it seems like they're getting a little too much of it. Thus, all these people are starting to kill themselves off one by one. Kind of crazy, which it feels like that they might be tied into it. And what I like is we really don't get that definitive of an answer. They could have been involved. It could have entirely been a coincidence. It could have been a deal where you want to put the blood on their hands. You want to blame somebody, but maybe there's just nobody to blame at the same time. And I always thought the finale of this movie, the very closing shot, painted such a beautiful picture. And if a picture's worth 1,000 words, the ending of this movie says about 1,000,000. And what do I mean by that? The very ending is actually, you get this shot here of our lead girl, and she's getting ready to go on the subway. And there's another detective that believes that in another, flesh tape thing, that he sees a tattoo that she had shown him earlier in the film. He runs to the subway. He sees her. The train's coming up, and your heart's pounding. You're thinking, oh my God, she's going to jump in front of the train, kill herself. He grabs her hand, and she kind of pulls away. And just death stares him, just looks him straight in the eye as seriously as she can. And he looks all defeated and like, oh, like, don't do it. And the train comes by, and she doesn't blink. She doesn't flinch. She doesn't miss a beat. The train comes by, and she hops on the train. She kind of looks at him as the train goes away. And I always felt, to me, that the beauty and the brilliance of this movie and why its horror works for me is that ending, because it's almost in a way saying, yeah, you may be here right now to try to save me. And you may have thought that I had some, preconceived notions of jumping in front of this subway. But you're not always going to be there, and it's not in your control. And I think that's what's so scary about this movie, is that there's nothing he could do to stop her. She really wants to end her life. She could do it at any time. And that's truly horrifying. It's out of our control. And I think in a lot of ways, and not to get too meta here, but like I was saying before, Cian Sono's best friend had committed suicide. I think in a lot of ways that was his helplessness. I think he felt that I was a good friend to him. I was there for him. There was nothing I could have done. And I think that's really well portrayed and painted in this particular picture. And it's sad. It's morbid. It's deep. It's, dare I say, very graphic and gruesome for people to think about those type of themes in horror, but they do exist. And honestly, I think this is a really well done horror film from top to bottom. I mean, Cian Sono just does a wonderful job in the director's chair. of tackling all these different sorts of themes while still being over the top, entertaining, gory, all of the things that the J-horror movies were kind of known for being at that point, and scary and atmospherically. He has a little bit of everything. It's a very grand film, is The Suicide Club. I highly recommend this movie, but let's get back to comments. I've neglected y'all for far too long, and I see a literally ton of comments since I started going here. So let me go here. I think we were. Put some pineapples on that pizza. Curly, I'm down. You're down. Ham? Do you do ham and pineapple or just pineapple? Like, I don't know what the whole gimmick is. Like, let's say, okay, Curly, 2 toppings. You have 2 toppings on a pizza. What are the 2 toppings you go for? Gene Stanford with a smile. We got Sean Blue Digital. Hey, good evening, Graveyard Crew. Welcome, Sean Blue. Hope all is well with you, my friend. People saying hi. Tokyo Gore Police is the ultimate date movie, LOL. Dude, I mean, Eihi Shiina is my mommy. I mean, come on. You gotta love Eihi Shiina. I mean, oh my God, that's my mommy. Tokyo Gore Police was made for Tubi TV before Tubi was even a thing. I adore Tokyo Gore Police. It's going to be a lot of fun to get into that movie. Juno is here. Juno 2000. Welcome, my friend. Hey, Grande and everyone. I heard the very sad passing of WWE superstars Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family. Oh, my God. Yeah. So sad because Bray Wyatt was a tremendous talent. I mean, one of the best promos I've heard in my years of watching pro wrestling. I mean, the guy was money. He created that character and just nailed it. And in a turn in a horror character, right? I mean, anyone that watches pro wrestling and loves horror movies, which it seems to be a similar crowd. And I know there are a lot of people that love pro wrestling and love horror movies. That those two are like peanut butter and jelly or like peas and carrots. For some reason, they go together. And I thought that character was such an interesting idea to bring horror into a character. And you look at the history of at least WWE, horror and wrestling and horror characters have always sort of been integrated well, whether it be The Undertaker, whether it be Kane, whether it be all of these characters that sort of, come from the world of horror and adapt themselves to the world of professional wrestling. And Bray Wyatt was a guy that did that, man. And he was a WWE champion. I actually went to Madison Square Garden on a house show and he main evented with John Cena, defended the title and won. I mean, I loved Bray Wyatt. I mean, it's just such a sad news to hear that he passed away. I don't know the details yet. I've heard drugs might have been involved. I've heard, and weirdly enough, I've heard suicide could have been the situation. So whatever it was, may he rest in peace, because it's heartbreaking because that guy had talent, man. He really, really did. So rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. Ciao, Grande. Hi to the lovely graveyard. Only saw the only movie that you couldn't rewatch. It was a blast. Terry Funk. Dude, I absolutely love Battle Royale. And rest in peace, Terry Funk. Absolutely, man. Terry Funk died yesterday, if anyone's a fan of the original ECW, of course, me and Nate reviewed ECW Barely Legal, which was their first pay-per-view, and Terry Funk was the main event on that show. And man, one of my favorite moments in pro wrestling history is when Terry Funk is chanting in the crowd at the end of that pay-per-view with the title around his arm and the fans, embracing him chanting ECW. One of my favorite moments in pro wrestling's history. Rest in peace, Terry Funk. People saying R.I.P. You telling me Bray Wyatt died? Yeah, man. Bray Wyatt passed away. Very sad news. Yeah, Mateo, I just found out. Exactly. People saying hi. I just shared out the stream. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. While I had heard about Terry Funk, I had no clue about Bray Wyatt. R.I.P. to both wrestlers. Absolutely. Terry Funk passed away yesterday, and today Bray Wyatt passed away. R.I.P. to those great wrestlers. Oh, man, I completely agree. Juno, I'll text you for the link tomorrow, and I'll email you. It's a watch party, 7 p.m. Oh, my God. Awesome. What are you guys watching tomorrow, man? That's awesome. The skin thing was low-key disturbing. Oh, the skin thing is really disturbing in this, where you're like, what the fuck? Because it's in like a giant white bag, and it's just all their skins like stapled together. You're like, what the fuck? Like, what kind of a cult is this? But again, it's the horrors of fitting in. And that's what I thought was so fucking smart about this movie. And in fact, I think it's very ahead of its time. I know Cian Sono was really trying to make a statement on the internet. And it's not very in your face here. Like, you can clearly see that as more subtext as opposed to actual text. But I think at the same time, this movie ages so well because of how much society has kind of followed with the fads and the horrors of fads that this movie has to present to us. I think that's a big reason why Suicide Squad works. Heroic Waffles. That's got to be a first-time name. Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome, Mr. Heroic Waffles. I need a hero. I need a hero and waffles and egos at night. Hell yeah. That is an awesome fucking tag, man. Fingers getting cut off always triggers me for some reason. Oh, well, yeah. If you watch the scene of this where she's cutting the fucking bread and her fucking fingers, and I know there's two versions of this. There's a cut version and an uncut version. You have to watch the uncut version just for that finger scene alone. It is insanely elongated to the point where you're like, oh, like, make it stop. Like, and I love that she never sells it. Like, she's like humming, like, oh, I'm just making some bread and there might be a little bit of my gore on it, but sorry, Hey, waffles. Ryo Ishibashi, yeah, I said it right, is a legend. Oh, yeah, no, awesome. He's an awesome actor. Mayan is here. Mayan, I wish you a happy birthday because Sean Blue had shared out that it was your birthday recently, but I'll say it in person this time. Happy birthday, Mayan. Happy belated birthday, man. Hope all is well with you. I hope you had a wonderful birthday. Hope that all went well. People saying hi to one another. Let me skip over those. We got Honky Tonk. The Honky Tonk, man, he's cool. He's tough. He's bad. A Grande. Honky Digital's in the house. Throwing a thumbs up. Mearnsey Movie Mansion's here. Hey, what's up, Grande fam? Hey, Graveyard fam. Hey, Grande. We'll get it right here, folks. People saying hi. Wow, a lot of highs tonight. Holy shit. Pineapple and ham. All right, Curly. You know what? I may just have a pineapple and ham slice on you tomorrow, or in honor of you tomorrow. You don't have to pay for it because obviously there's no way for you to, unless you want to meet up in the city. But I got to get my car inspected and all that good stuff. So, hello, Curly girl. Oh, I guess Sean Blue. Well, Sean Blue's a Philly guy. So if I'm asking Philly guy here, I would definitely ask Sean Blue about cheesesteaks. I would love to know where to get the best cheesesteak in Philly. I had Tony Luke's last Saturday. I was in Atlantic City. I had a nice Tony Luke's Philly cheesesteak. Fantastic. But I know Sean Blue would know where the best cheesesteak spot's at. Texas says green peppers, onions, and ground beef. Not afraid of pineapple and ham. Okay. All right. That's cool. For some reason, I would be with all of that except green peppers. Green peppers, as a baby, I loved them. But now, for some reason, green peppers, I can't do them. Like I get nauseous. I get a little bit lightheaded. I can't eat green peppers anymore. Don't know why. I used to literally, like my parents said that one of the first things I ever liked as a baby was peppers. Like I would just eat them, pound them down. And I used to love them on a cheesesteak with extra onions and provolone. And that's like, if I have my tailor-made cheesesteak, it's fucking cheesesteak, fucking provolone, extra onions. That's now. And it used to be green peppers, but no more green peppers from John Grande. I can't do it anymore. I don't know why. I really think it's something wrong with me. It's not that I don't like them. It's just every time I have them, I'm like, I feel sick after. You got a problem with pineapple and pizza, Sean? Oh, no, don't cut this man's pee-pee off. Don't do it. Not on the Graveyard. Granted, if there was ever a show for you to do it, it would be fucking this show where we're going to be talking about Tokyo Gore Police in a little bit. R.I.P. Terry Funk, one of the greats. AJ's Happy Fun Time channel is here. Yeah. This guy was watching Funny Man before on his own fucking choice. That was wild to me because that movie I cut a scathing rant on. Welcome, Mr. Zitro. The horrors of fitting in. Dang, this movie was ahead of its time. Exactly. Yeah. And there's a lot of horror movies that focus on the horrors of fitting in, but there's very few of them that I think get it right like this one does. Because usually it's a supernatural entity. Like the movie that it made me think of was Smile. The Smile, which just came out I think this past September, so it's almost a year old now, where it seems like people were in a trance when they were killing themselves. They have the smile and then they cut their own throat, or they have the smile and they do this, that, or the other. This movie, though, I thought that what was so horrific about it was they were all in their right mind. Nobody was under a trance. No one was being told anything to do. They did it because of pure pressure. And I thought that was absolutely incredible. That was what really made it work. Oh no, ouchie curly girl. Oh no cutting here. Man, laughing. Thank you for the birthday wishes, and it was wonderful. That's fantastic to hear. I'm very, very happy to hear that. Yo, what's up, my brother from another mother? Robert Simeone is in the house. Welcome, Mr. Robert Simeone. Hope all is well with you, man. People saying thanks. People saying happy belated. Okay, very nice. If people hadn't already, I'm glad I brought it to the forefront so everybody can wish man a happy B-Day. Smash the like button, brother. Labyrinth UFC breakdown. Hey, man, I was in Atlantic City. I know you're a UFC guy. I'm very casual with it, but everyone was watching that Sean O'Malley fight, and everyone was shocked when he won the belt. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that because that was absolutely wild to watch that live. And I had a fun night, played some poker, hit on a Dracula slot machine. Very fun night in Atlantic City for me and my friends, man. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I guess I did. I guess I ate too many of them as a baby. I don't know, man. It's just so odd. I don't know why. like I've gravitated away from them over the years. I can't tell you why. I'm not a picky guy at all. Not a picky eater in any way, shape, or form. But green peppers, I've stiff armed sort of. R.I.P. Bray Wyatt. I got 903 subs, and my birthday is next Saturday. I'll be 40. Well, happy almost birthday. Happy over 900 subscribers. Next stop for you, Mr. Chobo, 1,000 subscribers. Hoping all is well with you, my friend. So people saying happy birthday to Mayanne and thank you, Texas, and stuff like that. And I don't know, not too much talk about this movie. And I'm not sure if everyone has not seen it or not as familiar with it. If you're not, you can watch this thing on YouTube for free with subtitles, I believe in HD. The transfer in this left a little bit to be desired. Not the greatest transfer, very grainy. But at the same time, this was made for pennies. Like, this is very low budget film, and it's very much more on what it has to say about society and about peer pressures and the horrors that come with those things, and dealing with a very, very touchy subject in suicide itself. So I can understand why this would not be everyone's cup of tea or a movie that everyone would sort of grab for, especially in the J-horror boom of the late 90s into the early 2000s. Like, it's definitely, not a one missed call. Like, oh, one missed call, that sounds like an interesting horror premise, or Dark Water or Shudder, or all these movies that had more conventional themes and tropes and storylines, whereas this one is very real and very dramatic. And now I know that they did do a prequel to this called Noriko's Dinner Table, which is almost 3 hours long. And it's told in a non-linear fashion over the course of 5 characters leading up to this movie. It's a very big prequel, like a 3-hour prequel to this. And I know Cian Sono always wanted to do the third movie, wanted to do the trilogy and end it after this movie, which I think would be great. Unfortunately, I do think that time for that, to strike that iron while it was hot, has passed, unfortunately. But in my opinion, man, this movie is phenomenal. It's a must-see horror movie. I highly, highly recommend it to each and every one of you that has not seen it. Or maybe, just maybe, if you do think this is too far, like the line I was saying in the beginning, if you think this crosses a line, then stay away. Totally stay away. I can understand staying away from this one. But Suicide's Club, I highly recommend this bad boy. Let's see. Never seen it. Asian horror scares me too much. Well, Japanese horror is my jam, man. I could totally understand why it scares you. Because, man, it's one of those, like, it's funny. I could rewatch Italian horror over and over and Spanish horror over and over. J-horror is more acquired taste. It's definitely more acquired taste because it's usually their deeper films. Like, granted, you'll have movies that are fun, like this, which we're going to talk about, but a lot of them do have deeper themes and very dark and twisted storylines and creepy, disturbing visuals. And that's a big reason why I like J-horror. And I'll be honest, I don't gravitate towards it as much as I do like Italian or 80s or 70s or whatever, or exploitation. But when I do, I get on that big spurt of it. Like this week, I've wanted to watch all the fucking J-horror I can watch, and I only got around to watching these 2. But I feel like since I'm off tomorrow, maybe I could throw on Perfect Blue after this, or maybe I could throw on Bad Ju-on sequels, like anything to get my J-horror fix, man, because I'm in the mood now. I love Suicide Club, but it's been at least 15 years since I've seen it. Wow, that's a long time. Man, it still holds up, though. It's still such a damn good movie. And one other thing I didn't mention was the score, the music in this. It's so dreary and it fits it perfect. It's like a piano score. It's like boom, boom, boom. It's very depressing, which makes sense, So I don't know. Definitely a very solid score. I'll have to check it out. Free is nice too. Yeah, no, free as can be. Both these movies you can watch, I believe, on YouTube. I think this one might be on Tubi. I'm not sure. Haven't seen or heard of it. I'm sold though. Sounds pretty wild. Is it super gory? Yes, it's super gory. It's super gory, super deep, super dark humor. Has a lot going on. It really has a lot to it. It has a lot of meat to its potatoes. So I would highly recommend it, man. It is just a little disturbing. Like, I won't say that it's for everyone. Like, I enjoy it, but again, I can understand the dark humor that it goes for. I can understand the dark themes that it goes for. I can understand some of the very trigger-filled themes that it's addressing. This is definitely not a movie for everybody, but I think if you can handle it, if you've seen some of the hardcore of the hardcore, maybe just maybe it's a movie that's up your alley. I saw one about the forest. Creepy. Saw one about that forest. What? Oh, is that Noroi? No, or I see, Japanese is not my first language, if you can't fucking tell. Noroi, I think it's called Noroi, where it's like a documentary about this family that is, and it's shot on video. It is one of the scariest horror movies I've ever seen. I think it's Noroi. I think that I could comment it. Noroi, I think it was called. And oh my God, one of the scariest films I've ever seen in my life. I've never been able to get a physical copy of it because I've gone to so many conventions. They always have these bullshit bootlegs where I'm like, dude, I don't watch the movie where it's on 144 fucking P. Like, can you fucking somebody put, even if you put out a DVD of fucking, Noroi, I would be happy with that. A lot of J-horror movies I really love. I don't particularly want to rewatch again. Weird, but they just don't have rewatchability quality, even though I absolutely love them. I would agree with that. I would actually agree with that. Like I love a lot of the Ju-on movies. Like I love Ju-on the Curse. I love Ju-on the Grudge 1 and 2. I love fucking the first Ringu and Ringu Zero. I love Dark Water. I love Shudder. I love One Missed Call. I love Battle Royale. But I haven't seen those movies as much as I have the slasher movies of America or the giallos of Italy. Like, I don't know why they don't have that same rewatchability, but I think they're just as good, if not better films. So it's weird. I feel like I'm contradicting myself a bit, but it is what it is. The Crocodile Girl in Tokyo Gore is so iconic. Dude, yeah, we're about to get there. That's it. Noroi the Curse. In my top 10 scariest movies I've ever seen. Scared me to my core. I literally only watched it one time. It scared me so bad, and I'm waiting for a decent edition to get released. So fingers crossed for that. Brett, the Hitman Ghostface, is here. Welcome, good brother Brett. Now, people will be very happy to hear this that are still here, that are anybody that liked my Scream 5 rant. Brett has done something historic. He has been the first person in the history of Grande's Graveyard to give me a paid request, because back in that rant, I said the only way I'll ever see fucking Scream 6 and review it is if somebody fucking paid me. Kidding. Brett threw the money. Brett was like, I'll send you the fucking money. I need to see you review and bash this movie. So, Brett, that rant, the review, whatever the fuck you want to call it, will happen at some point. I am honored and humbled that somebody thought to give me money to do so. So I appreciate that. Granted, I never thought that would happen. So there's always a first time for everything. The one I saw was a doc about the Suicide Forest. Well, this was like more mockumentary, so I'm thinking it sounds like very much what you're describing here. So I don't know, unless it's a real documentary which you're discussing. James Abernathy's in the house, a little late, but I'm here, guys. Hey, everyone. Welcome, James Abernathy. Hope it's all with you. Those were badass. Battle Royale might be my top films ever. I love Battle Royale. I mean, Battle Royale is one of the best Japanese movies ever made. It would probably be in discussion for a top 10 ever movie, too. Then Americans try to do decent remakes. Yeah, no, the Hunger Games is just way too PG-13 in comparison to a Battle Royale to me. That's awesome. Absolutely. But all right, let's get into, oh, wait a minute. Before we do, I see T is here. Hey, Grande, thumbs up. Hello, everyone in the chat. T, welcome, my friend. Hope all is well with you tonight. Ichi the Killer is one of my favorites besides Battle Royale. Well, you can't go wrong with Takashi Miike. But that brings us to our second film of the evening, which, when you want to talk about creativity and you want to talk about a movie with imagination, you look no further than this movie here from the year 2008. It's directed by Yoshihiro Nishimura, who also, funny enough, like I said, did the special makeup effects for this movie. 7 years later, gets the opportunity to direct Eihi Shiina from, of course, Audition fame, and this excellent body horror, splat-tastic movie. This is the Tokyo Gore Police. In future Tokyo, a young woman is in the privatized police force, and she's tracking down her father's killer while battling against mutant rebels known as engineers. Yes, Tokyo Gore Police. What more can you say about this movie, man, that hasn't been said? I know Curly actually did a review of this that I watched, and Curly, I'm sure you'll be happy to hear that. I watched Curly's review of this because I always like to hear what Curly's thoughts are. Also, last week when I did the Dracula 3-way dance, she had reviewed Jess Franco's Dracula, so I watched that review. I like to, especially if there's no special features, I love to watch other people's reviews, hear their thoughts. I love to do a lot of reading, a little digging, a little backstory. And of course, the director of this movie was a longtime special makeup effects artist and still is to this day. He has over 87 special makeup effects credits to his name, and it makes sense when you watch this movie because it almost feels like a 2-hour gore highlight demo reel of a guy saying, thank you for the palette. I'm going to go all out with this now. And that's what, of course, Mr. Nishimura brings to the table. I mean, I think it's just a wonderful, or Nishimura, I'm sorry. Mr. Nishimura brings to the table here with Tokyo Gore Police. And to me, it fits right alongside exploitation splatter films like A Planet Terror, like A Hobo with a Shotgun. It very much feels like that world, but yet it's more of a Japanese setting. And we follow Eihi Shiina, who of course was the antagonist in a little J-horror classic called Audition. And everyone and their mother knows Audition. That's the J-horror movie that struck a nerve with everyone. We all remember the foot getting sawed off with the razor wire. And we all remember Eihi Shiina being this beautiful white angel, this almost dove-like creature who turns into this absolute menace, who's throwing up for real because she's a method actress, threw up for real in a bowl and having her kind of peasant men drink it. And I've never been happy because I've never known what it is to be happy. And how good of a presence she brings to that performance and that role as the antagonist. Here, though, she's flipped onto the other side of the coin where she is literally a katana-wielding cop who dresses in this very fun, skimpy outfit for all my Eihi Shiina lovers and devoters out there, because Eihi Shiina is my mommy. I've said it once, I'll say it again, and I'll continue to say it down the road because this is a beautiful woman, and I'm not afraid to say that, ladies and gentlemen. Eihi Shiina is a beaut. And she is this kind of tragic character. We follow her as we learn that her father was killed years and years ago. He was this very proud, world-renowned cop that had his head blown off right in front of her. And we see that in all its gory glory. Of course, Mernsey was watching it before and tagged me. He was like, hey, Grande, look, wait for it. Boom, this guy gets his head blown off right in front of his daughter. And then it's years later, and we see Eihi Shiina is like the lead person to be brought in if you have to deal with an engineer. What an engineer is someone who has this tumor, this key tumor ingrained in them. And if you blow off a part of their body, it grows back, not as another arm, but as another weapon, like a chainsaw, full on like Ash Williams of Evil Dead, or, later in the film where it becomes a claw for Eihi Shiina. She's the specialist that's brought in to take out these monsters, these engineers, if you will. And the type of movie you're getting where she's sitting in the car, she's sad, she remembers her father, and she starts to cut herself. She has a very bad addiction of cutting herself. And we learn some more backstory on that. Her mother used to do that. It's a big cry for attention for Eihi. And of course, she shoots this rocket launcher. She lands on a roof and does this wonderful battle like Leatherface versus, Dennis Hopper and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. It's a very fun chainsaw battle with a katana and gore galore and all of these things. And again, where I said you could taste the gore off the screen of a Suicide Club and the opening with the subway scene, you can even more so taste it in this movie. This movie could have been in 3D because it feels like the gore is literally coming out of the screen and into your living room and into your lap. And that's what I love about this movie. I think it's just wonderfully gory and splat-tastic, if you will. Splat-stick type of movie. But let me go back to comments here because I don't want to fall too behind again. Where were we? I think we were here. I can already hear you screaming. A Japanese Jallo, you say? Imagine. That would be amazing. Hello, man. And Sean. Terrence. Oh, no. Protect your fucking eggplants. Tokyo Gore Police was a pleasant surprise when I first saw it. Way more fun than I expected. Oh, man, it is totally the movie that it sets out to be. Like, it really does deliver. I remember discovering Tokyo Gore Police and I Saw the Devil right at the same time, too. Wow, that'll be a fun double feature for sure. I just batshit insane. What a wild ride. Of course, man. Absolutely crazy. I love watching people react to this movie. Oh, it's wild. It's out there. And there's some things that we're going to discuss here where it's going to blow people's heads off. This movie lives up to its title. Absolutely, man. OMG, Sean Blue. I Saw the Devil. That movie is also so crazy. Love that movie as well. Pulse, Machine Girl. Machine Girl also was worked on by this director. It wasn't directed by him, but he did a lot of the special makeup effects. Ew, man, just with a simple ew with a bunch of W's. Yeah, it goes for it. It goes for it, man. Tokyo Gore Police, Hobo with a Shotgun, Street Trash take place in the same universe. Change my mind. I can't change your mind, Mr. Valerie, because it's probably true. It's just Tokyo. Hobo with a Shotgun is Fucktown. This is Tokyo. It's the same fucking world. It just feels very much similar. I could see if Jason Eisner watched this and was like, I want to make Hobo with a Shotgun. It feels very much in that vein. And even the way that they play with colors and color palette with this movie. There's so many distinct, beautiful color visuals in this movie. There's the great scene where Eihi Shiina gets sort of molested on the subway. And she grabs this guy by the hand, takes him to the side, and he's, oh, no, it was just a mistake. It was just a mistake. And Eihi Shiina, just like cold, calm, and collected, goes, any act of molestation is clearly a crime. And cuts the guy's hand off, and the guy's hands are like gushing blood over the place, and she has this beautiful red umbrella, and she kind of just walks off like Memoirs of a Geisha. I'm like, oh my god, this fucking bitch, like, so awesome, man, so awesome. Like, one of the best, like, you just make you cheer out loud type of moments. Love that stuff. Audition needs a prequel. I want the whole Asami backstory movie. Oh man, the time to do that's past. But Eihi Shiina, if she ever got to play that part again, would be so fun. Because like that, my thing with Eihi Shiina is she hasn't done that many movies. Like, she, of course, I remember from Sky High, and I remember her from this, and of course Audition is the big role. But she's one of those actresses where her actions speak louder than her words, and her presence and beauty speak louder than any charisma she really brings to the table. And it's a very odd type of acting to get over, because usually it's a performance, usually has a lot to do with dialogue. She's a woman of very few words. There's not much dialogue for Eihi Shiina to have here. A lot of it is more facial expression, and she nails it. I love the intensity that she brings to this role. And we'll get there. We'll get to some of the scenes where I really like. But let me catch up with the chat, like I was saying. Yeah, Mernsy, I saw The Devil lingered with me for days after I saw the first viewing, and I had to watch it again a couple days later. It's officially my favorite Korean extreme horror movie. Well, you picked a damn good one, because that is one of the creme de la creme there. Let's see. James saying, hi, Sean. Audition prequel would be cool, seeing how the dude ended up in the sack. Yeah. Let's see. Alpha's here. Hey, Grande. What the hell did I just stumble upon? This talk about puking in a bowl and eating it and shit. Well, that if you watched Audition, my friend, you will see that for real. Eihi Shiina was a method actress. And, of course, Takashi Miike, being the crazy director that he was, he said, hey, we're going to have you vomit in the bowl, and it's going to be fake, of course. And he was like, I'm a method actress. I'll do it for real. I'll vomit in the bowl if you want me to. And Takashi Miike was like, that's okay. But she was like, no, I'll do it. So she vomited for real on camera in this bowl. And then this fucking guy drank it for real, I guess thinking it was fake. But man, I don't know what they paid that guy, but they should have paid him more, because that's fucking insane. Like, I could not imagine being told after the fact that fucking you drank real fucking puke from this lady. But yeah, that's the wonderful world of breaking kayfabe and horror. Protect the eggplants. Of course, you got to protect the eggplants, which they didn't do in this movie. Could retrofit Gore Police to 3D and it could work. Oh, totally. Tokyo Gore Police is a full-out assault on all your senses, just nonstop splatterfest. What a blast. Some of the character concepts and costume designs so well done and creative. Because, again, the same thing that he told Cian Sono with Suicide Club. He didn't have the money. He didn't have the resources. He didn't even have that long of a shooting schedule. They gave him 2 weeks. This movie was filmed in 2 weeks. The amazement in that, do you know how hard it is to shoot a movie in 2 weeks, let alone one with this much practical makeup effects, this much insanity, this much gore, this much fucking creativity? Is absolutely off the charts. It is amazing to me that they made this in 2 weeks, and it's as good of a movie as it is. It's absolutely one of the most amazing things I've ever heard. Hey, Alpha, good to see you, brother. Always good to see Alpha. Dan Craig's here for the graveyard. Dan Giulianotti's in the house. Welcome, Dan Craig. Hope all is well with you. Boss Girl moves. Hell yeah, man. I'm not too knowledgeable about Japanese horror, though. I really enjoyed Audition. I forgot about the puke eating. Been a good long. Well, I'm sure a lot of people thought that it was fake, including me. The first time I was like, oh man, that's gross, but it's fake, of course. Probably like fucking cream corn or something. No, real puke, real vomit. Human perfect timing, just came back with food. There you go. Hopefully some spaghetti. Wow, 2 weeks, amazing. Absolutely. Thank God in Human Centipede there is no method actors. Yeah, no, you don't want to be eating shit. You definitely don't want to be eating shit there. But back to the Tokyo Gore Police. This movie is just every scene. You have a unique special makeup effect that will really make you sit there and go, wow. And that's a big reason why I love horror. You have this wonderful scene where this cop, he's looking to get his fucking candle wax. He goes to a nightclub. He's chilling, relaxing, and they release some of the prostitutes / hookers / dancers on the floor, and it is some of the most disturbing shit you'd ever see. Now, you talking to any male viewer here, you're thinking, oh man, some naked women in a club. What the hell is not to like about that? Some beautiful naked Japanese women in a club. Why wouldn't I like that? Well, they're all sort of engineers. They're all sort of mutated. They bring out this woman who literally is a snail woman. She has giant eyes, giant nose, a fucking giant snail shell. and she's slithering around the stage. She looks like Gary from fucking SpongeBob. It's like Gary from SpongeBob and a fucking Junji Ito manga got together and fucked, and this would be the thing they birthed, whatever this snail woman was on the screen, where like, holy shit, like, what is that? You have this one woman who, beautiful lady, fat ass, gorgeous looking. She has these wonderful yits, but instead of yits, tits on the yits, he's got a fucking monster mouth that are like, they'll bite your fucking nips off, man, or bite your dick off or something. She has yits with fucking mouth. That's some crazy shit. But who thought of these things? Of course, it was our director, because of course he's coming from that world. So you really want to fucking display all the creativity and psychopathness that you can in this movie, and it's done right there. Who the hell would think about that? You know, she's gonna be a beautiful woman top to bottom, but she's gonna have gets for a fucking thing. And then of course, the most disturbing one to me is the Grande woman. They have this woman that's literally no head, no legs. She's just shoulders, a torso, and she's literally like mounted onto a chair. And you can tell that the thing is still alive because it's moving. And it just starts squirting on everybody. And they're all like, yeah, it's fucking squirting on us. Yeah, this is great. I remember the first time I watched this, I must have been probably middle school, 2010 era. So yeah, middle school. I remember being like, what the fuck am I watching? But it's incredible. It's a spectacle. It's something that you've never seen before. And dare I say, you will never see again. A headless, legless, fucking arm-filled torso stapled to a chair, squirting all over people and them enjoying it. I mean, absolutely batshit crazy, but enjoyable. Insane. You have the scene where this cop is, after enjoying all of this wonderful nonsense, goes to get his candle wax, and he picks Yit Girl. Hey, Yits with fucking mouths and claws and fucking, you know, fangs on you. I want you to come back here and suck my dick. So they go to the back room, and she's sucking them off, and all of a sudden you see the lead engineer, the key master, if you will, and she bites this guy's dick off. Incredible, you know, blood squib of this guy's, you know, penis blood going everywhere, shooting all over the place, and very funny, very over the top, very, you know, campy, if you will, but entertaining at the same time, where you're like, holy shit, man. He pulls out a fucking like an AK and starts shooting at this fucking girl. He shoots her in half, literally cuts her in half with his gunshots, and he crawls out of the room. We think it's all over, and then the next thing we see is she's like half woman, half crocodile. The crocodile like mouth is like attached to her lower torso, and she's coming towards him trying to eat this guy. I'm like, holy shit, like, this is absolutely crazy. And again, it's an amazing practical makeup effect where we can see that the actress was short enough where her legs could probably fit in, and she probably was just opening and closing her legs to make this thing work, because it didn't look like too much animatronic work. But man, the creativity in that. Because earlier we had somebody's arm come off and it becomes a chainsaw. Here, a woman's torso is blown off and it becomes a mouth, just like her fucking yits. So staying in vein of that, I just thought was so brilliant, so smart, and so interesting. But alongside all the crazy gore, alongside all the insanity and the wonderful over-the-top police dispatchers who literally feel like they're straight out of Battle Royale too. Like, we have a fucking crisis on our hands. You know, that lady in the fucking booth, just crazy. We do have a lot of character development here and a lot of character arc. And Eihi Shiina's performance in this, like I said, while stoic, is quite important and impactful in my opinion. Of course, we have this tragic character who is trying to avenge the loss of her father, and she believes the keymaster is behind it, only to find out that it actually was the police chief. He was the one that did it, and he in turn raised her, and he raised her to be this wonderful, you know, cop, and this wonderful, you know, soldier, if you will, like the perfect specimen. And he trained her to be all of these things. Well, meanwhile, her whole life has been hunting something that literally trained her. And I thought that was such an interesting dilemma for the lead character, where she realizes, oh my God, what I've been hunting my whole life literally raised me after my father died. Very, very cool. I like that twist. And there's a wonderful scene where the police always start to, you know, murder innocent people and torture innocent people. And there's scenes where this woman gets pulled apart by 4 cars, and a little bit of an homage to, of course, a Herschel Gordon Lewis 2000 Maniacs, where the horses, take limb from this woman. Here you have its 4 motor vehicles taking this woman apart limb from limb, slowly but surely, which is absolutely wild. We have this incredible fucking scene where Eihi Shiina, she rolls up and she sees all of the madness and all of the mayhem and all of this horror that's going on. And she gets out of the car and they play this wonderful score as she's looking around, seeing how society is crumbling before her. And she knows that she must rise above and become the hero that her father was. And I love that scene because there's no words said. And I don't know if we can get away with that in a lot of films where you don't say a word, but you, again, say so much without saying anything at all at the same time. It's very, very fine line. It's very hard to do, but they do it here. They really, really do. I love that. I love how her face and of pain and sadness and sorrow and realization of, I've got to fight this thing. But Eihi Shiina becomes the very thing that she's facing. Of course, the Keymaster at one point injects her and she becomes an engineer herself, and she gets her arm taken off and her eye shot, and she has this wonderful claw and this eye that's like almost become like a goggle now, like an alien goggle, if you will. Very cool looking design for Eihi Shiina as she starts to fight all of these wonderful creatures, whether it be the guy shooting the hand bazookas at her, which literally shoot middle fingers to try to pierce you, and she kind of curves it to where it gets him. I thought that was really fun and creative until, you also see this wonderful finale where she encounters the police chief who raised her and betrayed her, and this woman who has all of her legs taken off, exception of swords. It's like all 4 legs are taken off, and she stands and crawls like a dog or a cat on these swords, where it's like, wow, this is incredible how they did it. And most of that before the fight happens is practical. Then when the fight happens, it has to be CG. It's one of those things. There's no way they could have pulled that off without being CG. But it's such a fun battle between the two. And then, of course, you get the battle between, sub-father and daughter here, right? Because, of course, he raised her after the father died, after he was behind killing him. And you get this wonderful scene where Eihi Shiina, and I think this is the best part of the performance, is you limit a lot of her lines throughout the movie, but when she has to deliver them, they mean something. I think a lot of people miss out on that. Like when you have a lead hero that is very few and far between with their words, they mean something. It's just like John Rambo. When John Rambo speaks, it means something. It's not just we don't have to listen. No, John Rambo's talking right now. We have to listen. Very similar to a Brock Lesnar. When Brock Lesnar, all right, he's not talking most of the time. It's usually Paul Lee. When Brock Lesnar speaks, it becomes must-see television. It doesn't become just must-see. It's can't miss. You can't miss what he's going to say because it's going to mean something. It's going to have impact. It's going to have power behind it. And Eihi Shiina brings that type of presence to this movie. And I love where he says, I have a hard time feeling any sympathy for a freak like you. I don't need any sympathy. Even if this body has been taken over by a devil, as long as I am myself, I will not become a devil. Because I am a police officer who protects the citizens. And I will not forgive your evil deed. And then they just fucking have this amazing sword fight where they fucking fight to the death. And she fucking chops his legs off. And he has this like Bruce Banner gamma that he's injecting himself with to fucking start fucking flying around the fucking room like he has rockets in his legs. But it's not rockets or fire. It's gore that he's flying around the room with, fighting Eihi Shiina. Incredible. Absolutely fucking incredible. Like some of the best shit I've ever seen, man. Just absolutely like, it's a spectacle. That is why Tokyo Gore Police is great. It's a spectacle. It's not really a movie you watch for dialogue. It's not really a movie you watch for, acting, even though Eihi Shiina is great and steals the movie with her presence. This is a spectacle. This is a movie where you just watch in awe of all the creativity and all of the things that the director was able to bring to the table, coming from the world of special practical makeup effects and literally making a film around it. What's your strength? Makeup effects, gore, body horror. Here it is. Tokyo Gore Police. It's just amazing. I wonder which one of us is the devil. It's just such a wonderful film. I really, from top to bottom, love this fucking movie, man. Some of the best stuff you'll ever see. But let's get back to comments. I've been neglecting y'all for far too long. Let's see. I think we were here. Creamed corn. Yeah, man. Hey, I was what I would have thought it was. Like, okay, eat this bowl of creamed corn. Okay, fine. That's fine. It was real vomit? Really? That would have been absolutely scary. I knew she actually threw up in the bowl. Never knew the guy actually drank it, though. He did. He never cuts. He fucking drank real vomit. Like, that guy deserved the fattest fucking paycheck for that. I don't care what he got, it wasn't enough, man. Like, that's, if you fucking told me after the fact, before it, like that, like, you have to tell me after the fact, I would fucking be like, I'm demanding a raise right now. I just drank vomit. Like, that's like absolutely insane. She looks like Gary from SpongeBob. She does. I mean, I could pull up, I'm sure I could pull up some pictures here, maybe to show you guys. We see there's not too many. This movie is so fucking crazy. There's really not too many online that I could probably show. Yeah, no, see, a lot of these are just so fucking crazy. I don't know. Spiral. What do you mean spiral? The random chick with the dick on her nose. What the fuck? Yeah, the snail lady, the fucking snail lady. Like, it's this giant fucking, the Squidward nose. It's fucking like, what the hell? Like, oh my God. Yits! I love yits, especially with fucking mouths and jaws on them. Like, who would think of that? Like, okay, she's gonna have beautiful, perfect yits. Those snail people from Junji Ito spiral. Fucking yeah, man. It really does. It feels like a Junji Ito manga meeting SpongeBob SquarePants' Gary. If those two men had a baby, it would be this fucking, like that fucking lady in the club. She had the cutest overbite. T, I see what you did there. Grande, did you ever watch Antomia Extinction, which is a prequel to Tokyo Gore? It's an hour-long short. I have not. I've seen Tokyo Gore School, which I was sorely disappointed by. I didn't like Tokyo Gore School. But Tokyo Gore Police is fantastic. Whoa, I get here. The first thing I hear is, I suck my bleep. Jamie Hart is in the house. I hope she's sending hearts. But after hearing profanity like that, I'm sure she's throwing haymakers. Jamie Hart, welcome. Yeah, the Croc Woman. Dude, the Croc Woman is incredible. They do have a picture of that. I could show that really quick. So here, let me go here and I'll show a fucking brief screen share, because that is just some of the most imaginative thing I've ever seen, man. Just so fucking imaginative. Like, look at this. Like, holy fucking shit. That is the shit of nightmares. Like, in that picture, it looks like, you're like, how? Like, literally how? In the movie, you can clearly tell her legs are just in there. She's just opening and closed to make the mouth work, which I thought was really simple yet really effective. I thought that was great. I mean, we can go through, let's see, we got other pictures here. This is the woman with the fucking no limbs, but they don't really show it. I guess that's Eihi Shiina behind the scenes, which you gotta love her. Tokyo is burning. Hell yeah, man. I love the outfit. I think that just like some of the outfits they have her dress up in, where there's a scene where she dresses up as this beautiful sort of like a lady of the evening, I guess. I don't know how else to explain it. But, and of course, they have the like kind of prostitute turn on it, where she's half, gorgeous, looks like almost like a porcelain doll. And then the other half bottom, it's like, oh my gosh, she looks like a hooker. And no wonder this guy tried to grab her ass, and then she fucking cuts his hands off, which, fair enough, it makes sense. But I mean, it is what it is. Neither here nor there. LOL, only on the Graveyard. You know it, Sean Blue. You know it, man. You've seen enough of these episodes by now to know that it's only on the Graveyard. I would be like, see you later, alligator. T, you're on fire, my guy. But Grande seems so sweet and innocent. Well, I am sweet and innocent. I'm quoting a character in the movie. I didn't say suck my dick. I mean, I quoted the character saying it. Sorry, LOL. You're not sorry. El Grande is far from that, but in a good way. Oh, well, thank you. I think I'm sweet. I think I'm sweet and innocent. I don't think I'm a bad guy. I don't know. I guess it depends on who you ask. I'm just very honest. I think that's the thing. I think I'm a little honest for people. What movie is he talking about? Oh, man, Jamie Hart. Sounds like you need to get on this one, because it's on Tubi for free and YouTube for free. Tokyo Gore Police. Hell yeah. Mikey's Morgue's in the house. When Schwarzenegger speak, you listen. It's the truth. It really, there are so few performers that can bring that presence and bring that type of, intensity to a performance like an Eihi Shiina, like a Sylvester Stallone, like a Arnold Schwarzenegger. And granted, I would even say Schwarzenegger and Stallone get more lines in other movies, but I would say Stallone and Rambo. Like, he doesn't say much, but man, you remember everything he says. I'll give you a war you won't believe. And I can't keep a job parking cars. I mean, just do we get to win this time? I love Stallone in First Blood. It's just one of the best performances. And again, one of dialogue wise, his lesser performances. There's not that much dialogue there. Yeah, I thought I was going to hate Tokyo Gore Police, but it was a relentless. Oh, man, dude, this would be a perfect movie with friends. Like a perfect movie to rent back in the day, get a bunch of popcorn, pizza, soda pop, whatever, and just sit down, turn off your brain. I mean, it would be wonderful to do. Mikey, always good to see you, man. What really sold me, too, was a lot of those sword fights. I'm a sucker for sword duels, and mixed with all that gore splatter, just so much fun. Dude, it's such a grand movie. Yeah, like it also does have that kung fu vibe to it. Even though there's no kung fu in it, the katana and just the vibe of it. It has a lot of Kill Bill in there too. Like definitely a lot of Kill Bill. Like you get to taste the blood, shit like that. Greed, Mernsey, vomit drinking, whole lot of nope. Okay, fair enough. This sounds like an acid-induced fever dream. Well, it is, man. It really is. It's an awesome one. Good to see people are crushing that like button tonight. Good work, y'all. Oh, thank you. I don't know how many likes we have. I don't see that stuff till after, but I will take your word for it. Here's Jamie throwing hearts. There you go. Yeah, what an incredible concept. Something out of an anime or a video game. And he brought it to life, man, for no budget. And he just nails this movie. I love this movie. The person who wrote the script for Tokyo Gore Police has a wild-ass imagination. Yeah, man, he really delivered it. I think it's so cool to see that this guy had 2 weeks. This guy had little money. And this guy brought his vision to the forefront and just wowed me. This is a very big movie where you just go, wow, at the end. It is truly a spectacle. Let's see. In a Wild Crocodile, Grande is truly one of the coolest people ever. Thank you, Mr. Vavra. I appreciate that. Agree, Tokyo Gore Police has that perfect sit around with some good friends and some drinks and just watch the madness. Well, yeah, I mean, I couldn't say it better myself. Tokyo Gore Police, highly recommended if you have not seen this one already. Just a very, very fun time. A lot less serious, I would say, than a Suicide Club. If this is too much for you, if this is the line, this is much more of a tongue-in-cheek, fun time at the movies that I think you can enjoy. So highly recommend both these movies. Like I said, though, the first one might cross some lines, might be a little too much for people. I understand that. So, yeah, that is Suicide Club, and Tokyo Gore Police. If I had to rank these, I'd come in a solid like 8.5. And honestly, yeah, same rating, 8.5. I'll give these both an 8.5. I think they're both very, very awesome J-horror movies. Again, one with body horror, splattastic, splatstick, over the top, gore and violence that you can just absolutely love, and Eihi Shiina. And then, of course, this one with, same amount of gore, violence, all that good stuff, but at the same time, a very deep and profound message that really make you think days and days after seeing it, and one that really does kind of hit a little bit close to home, even if, you've experienced anything like this or known anyone to do so. It's definitely one that cuts a little bit deeper than the rest. So that is the J-horror special. Now, this is one of the earliest we've ever wrapped on Grande's Graveyard, but yeah, that's what happens when I didn't have my third movie. If I had Battle Royale, I'd be here another half hour to 45 minutes gushing about that movie, or a Perfect Blue. We might be here another hour. But you know what? It's cool to do a slow show every now and again. But I guess I was going to do this video on the side, but since we have some people here, I'll wrap the show with a little bit of a Down by the Bay update. So quick Down by the Bay update. Now, I've seen a few rough drafts of it. This is, of course, my short film for anyone who doesn't know, anyone who's completely green to the whole thing. I made a short film, and it's on its way. It's coming. It's got another week or so until it'll be finished. I've seen the final cut, and it's fantastic. It's incredible. However, there was a couple of audio issues. And when we looked into it, my editor, my cinematographer, and we looked into it, we saw that my editor had made a slight mistake and had only downloaded the camera audio. And of course, we had the equipment to use a boom mic. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back, we're going to redo all the audio with the boom mic now, because that's better audio. So this way you'll be able to hear it a lot better, because some of the scenes, some of the audio levels were jumping around, and we're all sitting there in post-production like, why is this happening? Like, we were playing with all the decibel levels, and instead of doing that, we figured, why not take the extra couple weeks? Why not make it sound perfect with the actual correct boom mic audio? And we're going to go back and change that. But the music's been added. It's been color graded. The thing looks incredible. It's so beautiful. From a color palette standpoint, I'm so excited for you guys to see how gorgeous this thing looks. The music from my friend Billy Henry, he did a wonderful job with the music. I absolutely was just floored with how good of a job he did with the music. But there is a little bit of a downside, maybe perhaps some upside for you guys. The downside is we're not going to be able to make the festival deadline. So that stinks. So I wanted to play in Cinema Arts Center. We're not going to be able to submit it in time. I want it to be the best it possibly could be if we were going to submit it to something like that. And with the audio the way it was, we said, you know what? Let's take our time with this. Let's not rush it. There's no clock on this thing. Let's just fucking get it right. So that's what we're doing. And unfortunately, we're not going to be submitting to the festival this year because the deadline is going to be too quick and we're not going to make it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go straight to Grande's graveyard. So that's the good news for you guys that want to see it. It's going straight to Grande's graveyard. There's no wait. There's no, oh, we have to see if it gets in here or not. It's going to go straight to the graveyard. I'm planning on October. I'm thinking October at some point. I want to see when it's done. I'm going to rewatch it myself, and then I'll come on here. I'll make an actual separate video, and I'll say, here's the release date, and we'll all, look forward to that. At least I'll look forward to that. So that is something I'm really looking forward to. Just wanted to give it the extra time, make sure it was as good as it possibly be, because it's my first time film, so I don't want to rush things. Am I bummed that we didn't get to play in the festival because of a deadline? Yes. But at the same time, who better to share it with first than all of you guys who have just been so wonderful and supportive and watch my show every week and support me and what I do. I think there's no better audience to share it with first. I really feel that way. So I'm turning negatives into positives, and I hope that you guys like it and hope you guys give your fair critiques and stuff like that when it does drop on here. I can take criticism, like I said. If you guys don't like it, please tell me why, and always fun to discuss horror with you guys. So that is a little update on Down by the Bay, just for people that wanted to know. I was going to do a separate video, but I figured I will do another separate one when I know the release date, and I'll announce that. So that's when that will happen. So that's just a brief update on that, just because I had a little extra time here tonight. Let's see. I think we were here. Hearts. Sorry, I'm eating dinner. I got lazy with the hearts. So here are some hearts for you, Grande. Much love. Oh my God. Look how many. I got 10 purple hearts. This is a great day. Of the Japanese movies you have watched, you can do a top 5. So, okay, top 5 Japanese horror movies. Wow. Now you make me want to go to the DVD rack over there, but you know what? I'll stay here. Okay. Number 1 would be Perfect Blue. I think Perfect Blue is the best Japanese horror movie ever made. It really is, from top to bottom. One of the number 1 movies that I felt I could relate to, and I thought about it, and I saw so many things that I don't even know if were supposed to be taken from there, but I took from it. I just got so much back from that movie. For anyone who doesn't know, the movie is about this pop singer who she's deciding to leave the pop world where she's this phenomenon, and she wants to become an actress. And it basically all of the horrors that come from one person changing from something they're known and established for and changing to a different occupation, which they're not and they're green to. And will you sell yourself out? How far will you go to make your other dreams come true? And we get some gore. We get some psychological horror. We get some wonderful shots. So wonderful, in fact, that Darren Aronofsky, who people love, of The Wrestler, of The Whale, of course, Requiem for a Dream, he ripped that movie off so many times. He had to buy the rights for $59,000. Had to fucking buy the rights to Perfect Blue. He ripped it off so much. That's how great Perfect Blue is. Darren Aronofsky's ripped it off a million times. Literally, Black Swan is like a live action adaptation of Perfect Blue in some ways. It's amazing. But man, love Perfect Blue. Easily my number 1. Number 2 would be Ringu, the original Ringu. Love that movie. Absolutely love the story and the tale and the pacing, and Sadako Yamamura coming out of the well and coming out of the television and into your living room. Some of the best stuff that horror had to offer at that time. Just absolutely a movie to me that made horror scary again. Like where we had the neo slashers going on at the time with 96's Scream, and then of course 97, 98 with your I Know What You Did Last Summer's, your Urban Legends, your Valentines, all of these movies that kind of were parodying the genre, and we're in on it too. Whereas Ringu was like, no, we're scary again. Like now we're scary again. That movie and Blair Witch, I think, were pivotal in pushing the genre along and making shit scary again as we moved into the new millennium. So Ringu would be number 2. Number 3, I would say Ju-on, either Ju-on the Grudge or Ju-on the Grudge 2. I love both of those movies. Ju-on the Grudge 2 is scarier, and I like the whole that it's a movie set. I always liked that whole thing. But Ju-on the Grudge is probably the better movie. I love Ju-on the Grudge. I would say the original Hauzu is a wonderful horror movie. I would say maybe that's number 4. I love, man, there's so fucking many. Like, I don't want to miss any. The original Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Love the original Godzilla. Love Godzilla versus the Smog Monster. I think that's a great horror Godzilla movie where the villain, it's probably my favorite villain in any Godzilla movie, where the Smog Monster is flying through people and literally they're disintegrating to bone. Oh my God, some of the best horror sequences and the fights and the laser beams and the fact that the fucking smog monster looks like a giant vagina. I love that movie. It's just fantastic. Absolutely love that movie from top to bottom. There's so many great Japanese horror movies. I mean, that would be my top 5 though, if I had to go off the top of my head. Yeah, so it would be Perfect Blue, Ringu, Ju-on the Grudge, Haozu, and then Godzilla King of the Monsters. I mean, these two would be right in the conversation. Battle Royale would be right in the conversation. I know people have argued with me that Battle Royale is more of an action drama. Whatever. I see a lot of horror in there too. I mean, it is what it is. You know, I don't want to argue with people. Battle Royale is fantastic too. You can't go wrong. I mean, there's so many great J-horror movies out there. Really, really are. So yeah, those would be the ones that come to mind. Another great Thursday show, Grande. Thank you so much, Sean Blue. We're wrapping up here. I'll get to all your comments since it's an earlier show. No, don't end yet, please. Well, we're talking for a little bit. If you guys had any questions, this would be the time. Only caught the end of it. Check your replay, Grande. Hear your thoughts on Suicide Club. Well, yeah, no, this was a shorter show because I only had 2 movies tonight. So, I mean, it is what it is. Have you seen Onibaba from 1964? That's an underrated Japanese horror flick. I have, and I love that movie. I have the Criterion of it somewhere. That's a great fucking J-horror movie. Highly recommend if people haven't seen Onibaba. Scary movie. Cannot wait to see this, Grande. Oh, man, I'm so excited, too. Like, I've seen the rough cut and it's really, really like I'm excited about it. Like I'm really excited to hear what other people think. Because the only people I've seen it so far is people I've worked on it with. Like the music guy, like I showed it to the music guy Raw, and he was like, dude, he was like, I'm excited to add shit to this. He was like, he's like, I'm really fucking proud of you. I was like, dude, so humbled to hear him say that, you know, it's just really humbling. And the whole process of working on it has been a lot of fun. Post-production is hard work though, man. Like it really is. Like, I didn't think it would be that strenuous to, you know, color grade and sound and, you know, picking the correct shots. Cause right. You want a director's cut. So I sat there with the editor and okay, I like this take instead of that take. Okay. Place this here, cut this there, give me a couple more seconds of this. Oh, something I wrote here didn't work. Like for an 11-minute short, we have worked hours on this. Whereas I cannot believe that this was shot in 2 weeks. Like that's crazy to me. Like it's just so crazy, man. Film should at least be shot over at the least amount a month. Good to hear you're getting the movie done. Yeah, no, it's close, man. It's another week or 2 and it'll be done. It really would have been done earlier this week if we hadn't made that audio flub. But man, you know what? It was our first time working on it. And accidents happen. And I felt bad. My editor, he turned white as a ghost when we found out. He was like, dude, I only synced the fucking camera audio, not the boom mic. And there's a big difference because camera audio can, like if somebody farts in the wind over there, this camera will pick it up probably. A boom mic though, it booms in the area. So if it's a car horn or somebody fucking ripped ass, you know, a few yards away, it's only going to boom on what's close. So that's why we really wanted to use the boom mic to cut out any excess sound and to make sure all the levels are even. You know, and this is a big discussion we had. I talked to my assistant about it over the phone. I was like, listen, if we change this, we're not going to get in the festival. I was like, and he was like, listen, he was like, it's up to you. You're the director. It's your call. And he said to me, he goes, I think we should just wait and make it the best we can be and drop it on the graveyard. And I said, I agree completely. I said, we have to. It's a bummer. It's a shame. But you know what, man, accidents happen. And I think it's only going to be better because of this. So I'm very excited. I really am. I think, you know what, we take our time with it and hopefully it turns out as good as it can turn out. It's going to be excellent. Texas, man, I'm excited to hear your thoughts on it. Exciting. Looking forward to it. Me too, man. I'm coming to your crib for the premiere. I'll bring some Spazzo's pizza. Hell yeah. I am so down with that, man. Well, it's only going to be 11 minutes, so we're going to have to watch something afterwards. Maybe some Terry Funk, maybe some Retro Wrestling Night with you, Dan. It's been too damn long. And also, to any of my football fans out here, I'm going to be doing week picks, NFL picks, starting for the new season. It's something I've wanted to do, hence the little Steelers hat. I'm going to try to do week picks, and I also would love to have, some people on. I'd love to have Dan on. I'm going to see if there's a way we could pre-record it with a guest. I know pre-recording I could do on my own, but with a guest, it could be tricky. So I'll look into that, but Dan, I totally want to have on. He's a big New York Jets fan like my dad, so it'd be a lot of fun to hear Dan's thoughts, and Dan's a big card collector, so that's somebody I'd love to have on, and I'm going to try to do weekly NFL picks this year. I figured it'd be a lot of fun to do. So any of my NFL fans, if you like, football picks, they'll be coming to Grande's Graveyard. Grande's Gridiron, motherfuckers. That sucks. It didn't go to the festival. I'm super exactly. I said this to the assistant. I'm like, I'm sad that we're not going to play in a movie theater that I'm literally dying to play in. But at the same time, look at it this way. We drop it here first. And if you guys like it, that's great. If you guys have critiques, I would have, in theory, a year to change stuff. If hey, this didn't work, or hey, I didn't think that piece of music worked, or hey, I liked it, but I would have done this. I have a year to then play with it. If you guys have a critique, I'm all for hearing it, because then a year from now, I can try to submit it to the festival and private the video on YouTube, because obviously they don't like you to have it released or seen by the public until their festival. They want to make their festival sound, the premiere or whatever the fuck. I get it. So what I would do in a year, I'd private the video and then try it there. But it's beautiful because it's almost like, in a way, and I don't mean this as a knock or anything like that, you guys are like a test audience where it's free as can be. You guys support my channel, support what I do. You guys can watch it, tell me what you think, and then, when the time comes next year, I can maybe make some changes if necessary. So that really excites me. And of course, if there's anyone's opinions I want to hear first, it's you guys. So I definitely I am literally a pig in shit of excitement with this. That's awesome, dude. It's going to crush. Can't wait to watch it. Very close. I'm telling you, like another week or so, and it's going to be ready. It's going to be fun. Absolutely. I'm looking somewhere in October to drop it. I think October is going to be the time. Perfect Blue I saw recently, and it blew me away. Oh, me too. To me, Perfect Blue is one of those movies that just really struck a nerve with me. Like, I remember at that time in my life, I related so much to it. Like, I don't know if I've told the story maybe once on here. I guess I could briefly get again. I'm sorry for not wrapping this, but it sometimes, you get down the rabbit hole. I was working at Sirius XM at the time. It was like very shortly after and out of college. And I was working at Sirius XM as a board manager, funny enough, for football games, baseball games, NASCAR. And it wasn't the greatest, most prestigious job. They were paying me dog money to do dog work, for lack of a better word. But the idea of the matter was, I was in New York City. I was in Sirius XM. My desk was literally next to where Colin Jost and Michael Shea recorded their podcast. You might know Colin Jost. He's the guy that's married to Scarlett Johansson. Sat next to the guy for months. It's like, that guy goes home to bang Scarlett Johansson. He's right there. Hello, surreal. I felt like I was in the right building at the time. And then, I saw Perfect Blue, and I felt a lot of the parallels in that movie going on with my real life. Like, do I really want to be doing this? Am I really happy doing this? Is this my dream? I was there to hopefully eventually sell Grande's Graveyard as a show to Sirius XM, where people would pay and I'd watch, and I had guests, like real, like actors and actresses and directors. And I had a grand vision for it. And I just knew after a while, I'm like, dude, I'm eating dog shit to do dog work, getting paid dog money. I'm literally paying to work because it's expensive to commute to New York City. And I just started fucking feeling depressed. I was like, fuck my life right now. And I remember walking home one night thinking about Perfect Blue, and I looked up at the lights of Times Square, and I remember being like, are the lights too bright for you right now? Like, are the lights too bright? And I remember getting really sad as I drove, not drove, but I got on the train home, or the vomit comet, if you will, at 4 a.m. Yep. The train ride home back to home is the vomit comet. Motherfuckers get on and get sick, especially on the weekends. Twice on Sunday. I was just remember being like, yo, this movie just speaks volumes. Like, this is exactly where I was in my life when I saw it. So it really struck a nerve with me. And I thought it was so wonderfully open to interpretation and what I was feeling at that time. So that's a big reason why I love Perfect Blue. I don't think I can give a Missy version of a Grande rant. I'll leave that to the man himself. Only on the Graveyard. If I ever do another shirt, which I should, I got to do the only, like, on the back of the shirt. I think that'd be funny. No need to do an American remake of Perfect Blue when Black Swan exists. Yeah, it's true. It's really true. They're very, very similar films. Battle Royale was so great. Quentin Tarantino wish he made it. It's true, and he loves that film. Did you ever see Ebola Syndrome? That's a pretty insane movie. I missed out. Vince Sin did a Blu-ray of that. And I missed out. So Ebola Syndrome is one I definitely got to see. LOL, that title screams insane, Mernsey. I saw VS. Yes, exactly. Yeah, you just took the words out of my mouth. Post is always a grind, but it's always a process. My favorite part of the process. Have you made films, Alpha? I didn't know that, man. That's really cool if you have. I'd love to see them if you have. I'm down to come on and do some picks. Oh, cool. I didn't know you were a football guy. Are you a Steelers guy? Wait a minute. No, so you're Indiana. So I'm guessing Colts, which I don't know about them this year. Oh, yeah, it's another super extreme, not for everyone. Pretty batshit wild, but worth the watch. Okay, cool. Grande's Grudar, that's perfect. Yeah, that's what we could call it. Are you dropping it on the tube? Yes, the movie's going to drop on the tube because, like I said, we're not going to reach the deadline for the festival. So the movie's going to go straight to YouTube. Once I have a release date, I'm going to make a video and I'll say, Down by the Bay will release on this release date, straight to Grande's Graveyard, and we'll go from there. Face blue smiling. Okay, very cool. Halloween would be perfect release date in my opinion. Well, it's going to be October. I know Johnny Perna, welcome to the house. It's going to be October for sure. If it's done in 2 weeks, which I think it's going to be, I'm thinking early October, because if we drop it on October, like on Halloween, I think that's like people get like the biggest withdrawal day of the year. The two biggest is December 26th and November 1st. It's like the biggest withdrawal day for a horror fan where it's like, oh, it's over. Like all the anticipation is over. I'm thinking earlier in October to really like, because when people are getting in the mood, bam, hit it with it then. Maybe people will be, more in the mood for it then, but we'll see. Hydrate, Mr. Grande. Okay. All right. You know what, man? I'll take your advice. I'll hydrate. Some people probably, and you probably being one of them, they're like, how do you not fucking drink and talk and talk and talk and talk? It's fucking wild. My own boss said it to me today. She's like, what the fuck? She's like, do you ever stop? She's like, it's like something's off. I'm like, yeah, probably, but I don't know. I never looked into it that deeply. Def feel that dude. Fuck no. Go Pack go. Oh, Packers guy. All right. I don't know, man. Aaron skipped town on y'all, man. And I don't know if you're feeling the love, but we'll see what Jordan Love's got, man. But let's see a couple more comments. I love it though. Yeah, no, I'm fucking nuts. It's true. But again, I would agree with what Jamie was saying. I think I'm sweet and innocent at the same time. But me and Merdsy are going to watch it. Remember, you are already in international success. That's right. In Canada, Italy, the whole fucking show, man. Matteo, also, I got to talk to you, mister. You don't want to make our movie with Miss Asia Argento. I thought that was so great. Night Watch Zone. I did an interview with him. And he interviewed me, and he was like, "Oh, hey, man, if you ever got to make your own Italian horror movie," he's like, I said, if I got to make my own Italian horror movie, me and Matteo would fly to Italy and we'd start making this thing. And Matteo was like, on one condition, that we can't have Asia Argento in it. I was like, no, god damn it, like that would be the first person I'd want. But you know what? We can meet halfway. We can make The House with the Laughing Windows 2. More laughing windows. I don't know, but I actually would never make a sequel to that. But me and Matteo, I think, could make a banger Italian giallo. Just saying, man, because me and Matteo love that shit. Colts fans are pretty scarce around here these days. Are they really? Well, yeah, man. Their team is set up for like a 3-4 win season, so I understand that. So I mean, it is what it is. But everybody, wow, we made it the hour and a half. This is wild. Usually it's around where I like to go. Maybe usually sometimes a little too long. Brief preview for the show next week. I was originally going to do Box Office Bombs, but I figured it is it's a day after the 8th anniversary of Wes Craven's passing, and I figured we do a big Wes Craven tribute show, and I discuss every single Wes Craven film, and we'll bring up the tier chart, and we'll go from S to F on all of his movies. We'll run through his entire career, a big tribute to Wes Craven. I'll be dropping the September schedule very soon. I believe next Monday I'll have the schedule ready. I also have some guests that are planned, which they may or may not be in the chat right now, but keep it a secret. I'll let you guys know probably Monday of the September schedule. Next week, Wes Craven tribute show, and like that. So everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a safe, happy, healthy weekend. I'm off tomorrow, so I'll be enjoying that. Yes, Matteo, cheers, Graveyard. Awesome show as always, Grande. Thank you so much, Merdsy. And of course, you haven't checked these movies out, go check them out. Let me know what you think. If you catch the replay, comment down below. Let me know, and we will catch you next time only on the Graveyard. Too sweet, peace, and we'll catch you next time. Good night, everybody.